Feelings in Bloom, Part 2. An Adrianette fanfiction based on the Miraculous Ladybug series. That was amazing, Adrian! You were incredible! Marinette came running up to Adrian as he exited the change room, her eyes shimmering. The photo shoot was finally over, and Marinette had looked so happy the entire time, so full of excitement and awe. He still couldn't believe that part of her. The way she'd paid attention to the costumes, the cameraman, and his poses. He had to admit, he'd been getting a tad bit flustered at that. But Adrian really understood just how much all this meant to her. This incredibly talented and wonderful girl had so much to offer to the world. Thanks, Marinette. I'm hoping this was worth the time. Are you kidding? Of course! I couldn't have pictured anything better. This girl. How was she pulling at his heartstrings like this? Adrian couldn't help but feel just as excited. Her contagious smile was to die for. He sighed. She always had a way of turning even the dullest of days and the dullest of jobs into something magical. He had to do this for his father, and that was the only thing anchoring his urge to just quit and leave. But with Marinette around, he actually wanted to be there. He wanted to do his best. For her. Just so that he could see her smile over and over again. Was it normal to feel all this for a friend? Well, I'm really glad you feel that way. He took her hand in his and brought it up to his lips, placing a gentle kiss. But when he looked back up at her, she was livid. He smirked. After you, he said, stepping to the side and gesturing to the car awaiting them. Oh, right. Wait, did he just do that? The realization made his heartbeat elevate. It wasn't like him to behave like this. Wow. He was definitely getting attached to his Chat Noir side a bit too much. But he liked how that felt. The way her flustered actions tugged at his heart. If he could, he'd just step up to her and give her the tightest embrace, telling her just how wonderful she was. How she made him happier. How meeting her and getting to know her was the best thing that had ever happened to him. But could he? Did she feel the same way, or was she uncomfortable? Thoughts and questions began racing through his mind as they both stepped up to the car. Being in that confined space felt different to what it had this afternoon. Her hand mere inches away from his as she looked out the window, watching the passers-by. Of course, he couldn't look away. The way her styled waves rested along her cheek, the midnight blue strands illuminating her soft, rosy skin. How could he not stare? He wanted to hold her hand. He wanted to interlock his fingers with hers and just feel real. Feel like himself. But she wouldn't like that. So, what's your plan once you get home? Adrian said, hesitantly turning himself to face her. Well, I was actually thinking I'd work on some of my designs, she said, sitting up on her seat. To be honest, I've kind of been in a creative rut recently. It's been very inconvenient. But after this photo shoot, I actually feel quite motivated and creative. So, thank you. I had a lot of fun. You're welcome anytime. She blushed, her smile widening with the most childlike wonder he'd ever seen. He could just lean in and touch her face. But he shouldn't. He shouldn't be thinking that. Hey, I was actually... Before Adrian could finish his sentence, the car came to a halt, with Gorilla turning back and looking at the both of them with his stoic gaze. We're here already? He said, looking through the window at the bakery he hoped not to find. It would seem so. I didn't even notice. A few moments of silence passed. He waited for Marinette to say something while she appeared to do the same. He could feel his face heating up in the process. Well, then... yeah. I'll see you on Monday? He sighed. Yeah, sure. Marinette stepped out of the car, and he couldn't help his sinking heart. He didn't want her to go. He wanted to hear her voice some more, and to look into those beautiful starry eyes that reflected the streetlights as she now peered through his window. Even in the darkness of eve, Marinette had such a radiant glow. Take care, Adrian. Even the way she said his name melted him. You too. I had a lot of fun with you around. Me too. Thanks again for inviting me. He nodded as she pulled herself back. He felt the engine rev up as the car pulled him away from her vanilla scent. He looked out the window to see her entering the bakery. The day was over, and he began playing its events in his head over and over again. Every single moment. He'd never spent a day with anyone feeling as happy as he'd been today. And he wanted to always feel like this. Excited to do something or go somewhere, not dreading every activity planned out for him. The fact that Marinette was able to accomplish this. The mere thought sent his heart for a sprint and his mind for a spin. But she was his friend. Why was he thinking about her like this? This felt different, yet so intensely perfect. Adrian now felt a weight grow heavier and heavier with each passing second, and by the time he realized just what he'd done, the car came to a halt. Please, I need to go back. He wanted to see her again, to hear her voice again, but he was met with a displeased grunt. Please. Getting a reluctant nod after a few moments was enough to have him bolt out of the car in the direction of the bakery. With a mind racing at the speed of light, Adrian could not gather any of his thoughts. What was he doing? What would he do once he got there? What would he say? He didn't know, but whatever he was doing meant there was no turning back. Even though his lungs and limbs began to burn, he didn't stop. He wouldn't stop. He wanted to see her. There she was, in her dimly lit balcony, staring up at the stars. She'd changed into her pajamas, her hair pulled back into her signature pigtails, but still as beautiful as ever. And before he knew it, her name slipped out. Marinette! He called out, mustering up every ounce of his strength left. Adrian? What are you doing here? I had to see you. His breathlessness had him severing through his thoughts. I have something to say. He felt his hands begin to tremble at the thought of going through with this. You do? Well, what is it? Wait, I'll come down. No, don't. Stay there! He had a feeling he wouldn't be able to say what was running through his head if she was close. Oh, okay. What is it? Marinette, I want to see you more. He noticed the puzzled look that spread across her face. You mean at school? No, I mean outside school. Outside photo shoots, you know? She didn't respond, which was fair. What could she even say in this situation? I want to go to parks and cafes with you. Enjoy a nice hot chocolate on a cold day. Lose horribly at video games, he said, a chuckle escaping him. What? Marinette, I like being with you. I don't know what to call it, but I can't help but want to be around you more. You know what I mean? It was then that she stepped away from the balcony edge and into her room, her footsteps making gentle, audible thuds. But before he could realize what she was doing, the bakery door jingled open. Adrian could feel his bravery draining away as Marinette made her way to him. Yes, I do. I really do know what you mean, Adrian. And I want that too, she said, looking up at him. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Locking his gaze into her Caribbean blue eyes, he stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. You do? Adrian slid his hand down her arms and took hold of hers, and she gripped back, giving him a nod. He immediately stepped forward, wrapping his arms around her and placing his chin on her shoulder. Tightening his embrace, Adrian took in her vanilla scent again, feeling the built-up tension leave his body. Thank you. He whispered into her ear like a secret he wanted only between the two of them, and felt her hold grow tighter. This felt just right. After what felt like mere moments, he felt her grip around him loosen up as she pulled away from him. He didn't want to let go, but what could he do? He pulled away in return to meet her gaze. Her dazzling gaze. Coffee? Wait, now? No, he said, giving a light chuckle. Tomorrow. 10 o'clock? I'd like that. And with what seemed like incredible timing, albeit incredibly inconvenient timing, he had to go. Stepping into the car after giving Marinette's hand a gentle kiss, Adrian reluctantly rolled up his window. Today was unforgettable, and Adrian knew he was going to have a hard time falling asleep. Thank you guys so much for listening. That was the second and final part of Feelings in Bloom, an Adrianette fanfiction based on the Miraculous Ladybug series. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts and suggestions if you have them. I'm also incredibly grateful for the patience you have for my posts, so thank you all very much. If you'd like to stay tuned for future videos, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post. Thank you guys so much for your support. Until the next time.